Ricmotech GT Challenge, broadcasted Mondays live on Apex Racing TV. Visit ExtremeMotorsports99.com for series and schedule details. Broadcast coverage next.
Seven ultra-competitive rounds of competition have gone into the books here in Season 2 of the Ricmotech GT Challenge, and we are here now at the iconic Watkins Glen International Raceway in upstate New York for the season finale. This is going to be a good one for sure. Watkins Glen, of course, one of the unbelievable racetracks here in North America. We're about to see drivers get set to go in a couple of different categories. The GTLM drivers with Fords, BMWs, Ferraris, and Porsches. And we have GTD as well on the grid, Audi, BMW versus Mercedes. This is going to be a good one for sure. This track, as we said, one of the toughest on the circuit. Watkins Glen, of course, home in the days of yore, back in the historic days, Formula One. It's seen IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR. Again, one of the most challenging racetracks, but one of the most fun to drive as well. We'll talk more about the track in a moment here. This 3-point.
Some little issues, unfortunately. The beauty of live broadcasting with Rob. As he was saying, a great showcase by all drivers this season-long championship. We are getting ready for qualifying here at Watkins Glen while we wait for Rob to join us back here in the booth. Championship standings are really close. We are gonna have a great fight for both the title in GT Le Mans and in GTC GTD Plus. We are gonna now, thanks to Kevin Ford, play the track guide today on the beautiful BMW M8 in the great track of Watkins Glen here in the state of New York.
Welcome, everyone, to Watkins Glen International Raceway. Great to have you with us tonight as we come to you from Watkins Glen, New York, just up the road from beautiful Lake Seneca here. 3.4 miles is what it takes to get around this course, 11 turns and a lot of technical sections. This course dates all the way back to 1956, and it is steeped in motorsports history. This place is one incredible track to drive. Let's head out of that final corner, and we're going to show you why. As we head down the front straightaway, you'll see why drivers just love this place. Grandstands to the left, pit area to the right as we cross the stripe and head downhill into this fast entry of turn 1, known as the 90. Hit that apex, come back to throttle, let that car drift out to pick up some speed, come up through the S's here of turns 2, 3, and 4. You'll notice turn 3 is a little bit blind on entry here as we come back to the left and back to the right now to head out onto the backstretch, the fastest portion of the course here for drivers, and also big overtaking opportunity coming into the bus stop, or what's known as the inner loop. Hug those bottom lines here, get a nice smooth run and exit out as we swing out wide for the entry to the outer loop, or it's commonly known to drivers as the carousel. Heading up over the crest and downhill into the chute of turn 6. One of my favorite corners here, looking for that apex, come back to throttle, let that car drift out wide, track out to pick up that momentum, down the hill into what's known as the toe. Yeah, the toe is part of the boot portion of the course here, which from an aerial view, it looks like a work boot, if you will. Drivers heading up the hill crest here. This is another little overtaking opportunity coming down into turn 8. Very tight right-hander. Not a lot of space here on exit. Really got to watch those tires. Don't let them get off into the dirt there. Into turn 9. This is probably one of the toughest corners on the track here. Get that car wide off exit. Boy, coming off that off-camber entry is very difficult. Into turn 10 here. Just a lift of the throttle, right back down, and into the final corner here of turn 11. Up wide, a little bit of banking, can get a lot of speed off that exit, and pick up some speed to come across the stripe and get that car up to about 150 miles an hour as we enter back into that turn one once again. There's your track guide for beautiful Watkins Glen, New York. We appreciate you being with us. Thank you.
What a beautiful track. This is a a great track to end the season on a high for this driver, and this is a beautiful championship. Rob has joined me back in the booth. How are you doing, Rob? Are you ready?
I'm good to go. Just a little technical issue there. I got booted out of TeamSpeak, but we're back again and indeed ready to go. This is one of my favorite tracks. I've actually had a chance to race on it myself in a number of different Formula cars. I love the racetrack. It's such a challenge, and I think it's going to be a fantastic venue for the finale of this GT Challenge.
Yeah, indeed. Speaking of finale, we are gonna now taking the chance of this qualifying session starting now. We are 5 minutes into the 15-minute qualifying to go through the championship standings as Dennis Branch in our production is showing you on the screen right now. GT Le Mans, Gagnon Renault in the Ford, the Canadian driver, is the actual leader of the championship with 194 points, and in front of Andrew Caron of Milwaukee Sim Racing 188, and Caden Bean in the 18. These three drivers are the three drivers gonna contend for the title, but I wouldn't count out also Abner Acosta and Robert Hartley, respectively 163 points and 162 points. There are 35 points plus bonus on the table tonight. So it might be a chance for these two drivers too, but they are definitely gonna bank on massive issues for all the three drivers up front. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's about it. The top three drivers, Gagnon Renault, Caron, and Caden Bin, obviously in the primary opportunity spots to be able to grab this championship. But, you know, we've seen it happen, Alessandro. You can have mistakes here and there. We've seen drivers wreck early on and end up finishing well down the field. It all depends, of course, how the depth of the field here today, how many drivers are here. You could finish last and still get enough points to potentially grab the championship still. But those top three guys definitely with an opportunity to go for the win. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of races, I don't know who's going to be good because we've seen different drivers show speed. You know, Mike Dam is down there in 9th place in points. He could easily win here. William Laster, we saw him incredibly good as well in the last couple of races. So I think it's still up in the air, but I think it'll be one where if somebody wants to win this championship, they got to go win the race today as well.
Yeah, anything can happen because the championship is 8 races long, but only 7 will determine the championship standing. So depending on how bad a week was in the previous 7 events, a driver could jump on the table or go down. So it's gonna be really interesting, and it's gonna make our math very complicated towards the end of the event.
If we're gonna lean any way, Alessandro, you got to think about Andrew Caron. Of course, he's coming off the victory at Catalunya, right? So if he's got a little bit of momentum, maybe some confidence coming here to Watkins Glen, he would have to be the driver you could say could step things up. But again, like you said, he's 6 points behind. And as we know, you know, the gap between first all the way back to third is only 5 points. It's 7 points back to fourth. So if Gagnon Renault can finish in the top 3, he's probably going to lock this thing in.
Yeah, indeed, definitely. And now we could move to the GTD class. I'll let Robbie to introduce you to the field.
Yeah, pretty good lead right now for Caleb Lavender. He's got a 12 marker advantage over Dennis Vavretic. So Lavender and the Archer Brothers Esports team, 217 points coming into the finale. He had a fantastic race as well in the event that we had at Catalunya. Of course, he was battling it out with Savretic and Brandon Whitworth. Lavender scoring the win there to stretch out that point lead to about 12, as I said, over Savretic. Then it's well back to Brandon Whitworth. So really it's going to come down to the two drivers, Lavender and Savretic, and it really is Lavender's championship to lose. He puts in a decent race here, anywhere in the top 3, top 5, and he's going to be able to win this championship. Guys just on the outside looking in who have had good seasons, though. Jeff Jacobs currently P4. 4 in the streetsurvival.org machine. He has 163 points. He's a couple of points ahead of Eric Violette, who we've seen look good in the D2D Esports crew. And D2D Esports have been good, Alessandro. 3 drivers in the top 7 in the championship points with Brandon Whitworth, Eric Violette, and Jim List.
Yeah, indeed. And also here we will need to take into account the fact of this drop week for the drivers, and this could shake things up in the end, especially for the top 3 places. There are a little bit less possibilities for drivers a bit behind here, because the field today, as far as we know, is gonna consist only of 6 drivers in the GTD class. So almost everybody is gonna score a lot of points, but nevertheless, the championship is still really, really close, and Caleb Lavender and Dennis Avretic are definitely gonna put up a great fight, because as we saw in Catalonia, it came down to the last few laps, and these boys don't want to lose the championship.
It's really interesting, Alessandro, to look at this. You said there's only 6 starters, and that really kind of changes things a little bit here, because first place is 35 points. 6th place, which would be whoever finishes last in GTD, is 25 points. That's 10. Remember, the difference is 12. But we still, of course, have leading the lap, which is a bonus point, top qualifier which is a bonus point as well. And we'd have to look a little bit over here. If I actually grab over to the website and try to find it exactly in terms of bonus points, where are they overall, and how many bonus points they have used, because I'll have to look a little later on that, because I can't quite see what I need here, right?
Savretic, both have already scored 9 total bonus points.
Okay, well,
so
then there you go.
Already
right?
At the top of the points. It's going to be different in the GTLM class, because we have all the top 5 drivers with more bonus point to get, at least 2 for Ian Gagnon-Renault, and 3 more for other drivers. So it's gonna be definitely more complicated to figure it out in the end for the GT Le Mans class.
Indeed,
But
yeah.
GT class seems to be pretty straightforward. It's gonna really be close between Savretti and Lavender. But as we were saying, Lavender will need to be at least 3rd or 4th position to have a chance to lose the championship.
Yeah, I think Lavender's in a pretty good spot here right now. Drivers are on track currently for their qualifying sessions, as we mentioned before. William Laster, fastest driver right now, 143.488 for Laster, leading the way. Potential championship challenger Andrew Caron now running in the 2nd spot, 0.6 of a second back. So Laster with a pretty good advantage here now. We're watching Andrew Caron right around here in the Movano Sim Racing Team number 72, the Canadian driver, running that BMW. Behind him, Robert Hartley in a BMW as well. Point leader Ian Gagnon-Renault a little bit further back, 0.8 behind Laster right now, Alessandro, who seems to have a pretty good advantage. Laster looking very, very strong in that Ford GT40.
Yeah, the Ford is driving really well around here, and Andrew Caron in his BMW is definitely pushing a lot, but the BMW doesn't seem really to have a lot of overall speed compared to the other car. Like the Ford is well known to be very fast around this track. I'm surprised to see a lot of BMW up front. In the top 8 position we have already 5 BMW, 2 Fords, and a solo Ferrari, the one of the 18 of Caden Bean. This is really surprising to me, because the Ferrari is known to be a very fast car after the recent balance of performance changes in the last iRacing build.
And Mike Dam, the quickest of the Porsche crew, back in the 9th position right now. So that number 93 Porsche for Mike Dam, the Canadian, again, a veteran driver here in the Ricmotech program, back in 9th position here, just over a second back, as in fact, top 6 drivers separated by less than 0.9 of a second. Everyone a second or more back, as William Laster in the Ford really getting things done. And again, Savretic leading the way here with a 147.788 in the GTD category. Savretic, one of the drivers in the BMW Z4 machines. You can see him here working his way back up the hill and out of the heel through turn number 9. Very tough part of this racetrack. You got to be very gentle rolling off through the off-camber part of the racetrack. And then, of course, here, a couple of almost bank corners coming through. The bank to the left, bank to the right. really able to carry a lot of speed, Alessandro, through this last complex here at Watkins Glen.
Yes, keeping up a lot of speed through these fast corners is really key. And the Mercedes here seems to be a very, very fast car. It probably has more balance towards these fast corners, while the Audi, which is the car selected by Caleb John Lavender in the 9 car, might be a little more sketchy, a bit more loose around these fast corners. So usually we have a lot of drivers also here in this series preferring the Mercedes rather than the Audi. But the Croatian driver definitely did a great job, 8 tenths clear of Caleb John Lavender. So it's gonna be easy for him if this is the real pace to pull away. But Caleb, I think, will only think a big picture of having only to finish 7 points behind the Croatian driver. He just need to get a top 4 here today.
Yeah, that's exactly right, isn't it? Isn't it second, third, or fourth for Lavender is all he needs to do. So I would expect to see him potentially kind of settle in. But again, these are long races, right? And we'll see what happens, because normally we've seen these two guys locked together the entire time. Savretic essentially put himself under the rear wing of Lavender for the entire race at Catalunya, and we kind of expected him to potentially try to go one more lap to potentially leapfrog over. Wasn't able to get the job done, but finally it was right there at the end. Lavender still getting the race win, and we'll see what happens. Qualifying capping off here right now, and that will wrap things up as we'll get a chance to have a look at the grid here momentarily as qualifying done, and it is time to go racing for the finale of season 2 of the Ricmotech GT Challenge, again brought to you by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. And here is your grid. I'll give you the first sheet, then I'll pass it over to Alessandro. William Laster on the pole in the Ford for F4H Racing, a 143.488. Andrew Caron, championship challenger on the outside of the front row. Abner Acosta alongside Robert Hartley on row number 2. Ian Gagnon Renault, your point leader, starting back in 5th. Inside of row 3 alongside the other driver he'll be battling it out for the season title, Caden Bin. Row number 4 sees Travis Schwenke on the inside and Jennifer McDonald on the outside. Row 5, Mike Dam and David Payton. And on row number 6, Chris Thorman and Arthur Chan.
Yeah, following we had also Rafael Souza in the 50 for Delta Motorsport with Kevin Ford. Derek Holland and George Fike round up row 8, then Raymond Rodriguez, Russ Radlock, Lois Doleo, and Michael Schlegelmilch in 20th position. Darren Clement did not qualify and is the last driver in the GTLM field.
Go, have at it.
Denis Savretic is the pole sitter of the GTD field, 8 tenths ahead of College of Lavender. Jeff Jacobs, Anthony Kernan, and Brandon Whitworth close the top 5 with Robert Brist in the 51 RFC Racing machine, closing the grid for today's event. 28 cars on the grid.
Yeah, not the massive field of 35 or plus, something like that. So we may see a little less traffic that we've dealt with, Alessandro, in a couple of the other races. Of course, that's something to see. There are races where we've had a lot more of the GTD drivers, and of course, they are quite a bit off in terms of pace to the drivers in GTLM. They actually changed a bit of the program there. There's a great shot of the front straightaway here at Watkins Glen, the massive grandstand to drivers left as they work their way to the final corner. Of course, the pit lane in the paddock to the right side. The NASCAR garage is there as well. Fantastic facility, an absolutely beautiful area as well, Alessandro, in the Finger Lakes of upstate New York. Just about 2-3 hours from Buffalo, same about 3 or 4 hours from New York City. Tremendous racetrack, and the amount of events that they put on at this track, as you know, IndyCar has been there before. The IMSA drivers come there annually for their 6-hour race. And of course, as you know, Alessandro, as well, they absolutely pack the place for NASCAR. I think one of the most popular NASCAR races of the year is when they get to turn right and left here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, indeed. This is an absolutely beautiful racetrack with whatever car you are driving. You're going to have a lot of fun. I obviously had no chance to drive it like you, Rob. I've been less lucky than you. I never also have the chance to be here at the track. But it's definitely one of the tracks I want to visit sooner or later in my life, because this is an iconic track. It's been around for ages. What F1 in the old days, now with IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and I'm sure also a lot of motor racing around here. It's a state-of-the-art facility. It's a pleasure to be here ending the season on a great, famous, and historical track like this.
It's also the Finger Lakes wine country as well. So if there's another reason for you to make a trek to Watkins Glen, in addition to seeing the national parks and of course just the lake itself, Lake Seneca, and some of the iconic bars that you would go to, Seneca Lodge, that kind of thing, where so many of the the historic names of motorsports have spent time. It is wine country as well. Beautiful part of the country in upstate New York, and of course this track, as you can see just from the shot that we're getting here on this warm-up lap before we go green, the undulations, the elevation changes, the drop down is coming into the toe of the boot. You climb back up the hill. You can see the exits even back uphill. Getting the throttle back down, you crest the hill back down into the heel of the boot. I think one of my most favorite corners of the track here would be this particular section here, because it's just so challenging. And the downhill run again into the heel, it pushes the car and it pushes the driver to the absolute edge.
Yeah, indeed. It's very easy to make a mistake. GTD drivers have the help of ABS, so they are it's a bit easier to make a mistake and recover, but these GTE drivers, GT demand drivers, are gonna have a tough time. You can't miss the apex there, or just the braking point, because the car is gonna go wide or into the barriers, and you don't want to end the season on a low.
Let's start, as we always have, drivers working their way around. Those drivers in the GTLM category will take the green from the iRacing start. Of course, race control will then take care of the drivers in GTD. They will start further back. We'll have a split start. Drivers in GTLM working their way through the final corner of the racetrack here. It's turn number 11 of Watkins Glen International Championship challenger Andrew Caron is going to start on the outside of the front row. His primary challengers on row 3 in Gagnon and Caden Bin. They'll work their way up into the start line here. We are underway. Green, green, green. Some contact as we go 4-5. 6 wide coming down the straightaway. Caron gets a good start. Laster from the pole falling back to potentially 4th as they work their way through the opening quarter. Downhill run, and one driver going around. Driver around. Another driver having trouble coming out of turn number 1. 2 more together. One of the D2D cars getting together, coming out. The Ferrari.
Kevin Ford, David Beaton.
There you go. Pick up there. Here come the GTD drivers. They're going to have to come through a little bit of chaos. They get the green as well. And Savretic will take them down into turn number 1. Big outside run for Caleb Lavender. The remainder of the drivers working their way through for the GTLM chaos. But Alessandro out through turn number 2. Here come the GTD drivers. GTLM already down to the bus stop.
Indeed, and big loser is Abner Acosta in the 44 car. He's now actually 17th. He might have been collected in the turn 1 accident, and he is still a championship contender. He was sitting in 4th position, and now he's gonna have a very, very difficult event to recover.
Big start for Andrew Caron in the GTLM category. He was able to get from the outside of the front row and work his way into the lead. Caden Bin, though, 3rd in points coming in here. Of course, Caron in 2nd, and Ian Gagnon Renaud, the point leader. He slots into the 4th place early on, but it's Andrew Caron out front, and getting a call, Alessandro, from race control that the start is under review. Potentially a jump start for Caron, do you think?
Yeah, it seemed a bit a very chaotic start. Ian Gagnon Renaud was really slow. I don't know what happened. The stewards for sure will investigate, make sure all the restart procedures were followed correctly. If not, we might see a big shake-up in the standing in the top positions.
What I find very interesting, William Laster starting on the pole position. I don't know if he just didn't get on the throttle quickly or whatever happened, but he's fallen all the way back into the 5th position. And remember, in qualifying, He was about 6/10 of a second quicker with his fast lap, and he may be just biding his time right now. Here comes Gagnon. Ian Gagnon Renault looking to the inside, and he makes that move. Book it. He goes to P3 as he's able to get by Robert Hartley on the way into the bus stop. An excellent opportunity to pass, as you know, fastest part of the racetrack coming up through turns 2, 3, and 4 of the S's. The long back straightaway into the inner loop, which they also call the bus stop. Hard braking, kind of a right-left, left-right combination, and he's able to get the pass done. And now William Laster going to work on Hartley here as they work their way down through the toe of the boot. But Gagnon, look at what we got here, Alessandro. Top 3 drivers in the points are the top 3 drivers on the racetrack. The point leader, Gagnon Renault in P3. Andrew Caron in second in the points running P1. And Caden Bin, who comes in third in the championship standings, now running P2. Cream always seems to rise to the top.
Yeah, indeed. It's a very long race though, so it's gonna be interesting to see if we have drivers that will come to the top later on when the tires will be slowly going down. Obviously the BMW seems to be with the car having a very good tire wear, but we will have to see. Meantime, the Croatian driver Denis Avretic of the 79 Mercedes is pulling away. Second is Caleb John Lavender, and he's definitely happy taking the second place today. He's on a mission to save at least a podium to get the championship wrapped up today. Meantime, we got notification from the race control that the GTLM start, even though it has been a bit messy, has deemed okay, so no penalties for any driver.
Pretty good battle going on up front right now. Andrew Caron still leads that number 72, but you can see the pressure now being put on by Caden Bin and the Ferrari, really putting it's all over the BMW of Caron. Update though from that opening lap, not sure exactly what happened there, but 2 drivers out early, David Payton and Kevin Ford, both out of the race apparently from the opening corner, opening lap incident. So both those drivers out of it right now as we are just working lap number 3. Here's a great shot of the leaders over the crest. Coming now into the heel of the boot, Caron and, as we've said, Caden Bin. Both those drivers, I believe, looks like they've got the same sponsorship, same, at least what I'm looking at, they got the same graphics on the car as well, the Movano team. So 4FH Ford right behind them of Ian Gagnon Renault. So the 2 Fords, Alessandro, 3rd and 4th right now. We know, though, that Laster has the speed. I think he may be just kind of biding his time right now. Long race. We're talking about 90 minutes here for this finale. He's just got to settle in and get the job done.
Yeah, for sure, indeed. These drivers are just at the moment trying to keep it clean, make sure they don't make any mistake, because it's imperative for everybody competing still for a title or any position, also top 5, to not make mistakes early on and not have to recover like Abner Acosta will have to do from his 16th position after qualifying 3rd. So the 2 Movano drivers are pulling away, but we have another couple behind in the Ford trying to chase them.
Alessandro Laster is up into 3rd. We had just talked about the fact that he was back in 4th spot. He was able to get into 3rd, able to find a way by Gagnon Renault. So move William Laster in that Ford into P3. Here's the run here up the hill through the S's. Tough part of the racetrack. You're just trying to set the car in the right spot. Gets a good run out here. Peeks to the outside. Does he get the full run around the outside? Yeah, indeed he does. Good, much better run out of the S's. He gets the pass done without even having to do a deep braking maneuver. Rocking the curbing coming through the bus stop. Yeah, move Laster into P3, and we probably shouldn't be surprised, Alessandro. 0.6 of a second quicker in qualifying. If he shows the patience here now, we'll see him work his way back to the front, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And Ian Gagnon Renault probably just let him by without fighting really much. He's his teammate, so obviously, even though the 23 car is in the standings on top, Laster has a chance to chase both Movano's car. So He's very fast, and we will try his best to spoil the party up top for the two drivers leading this race so far.
We know we had that chaos up front that moved Abner Acosta down to the back. David Payton and Kevin Ford is out as well. If there's any way, if we give a shout out to our producer Dennis Branch, if there's any way we can watch that start again on a replay, we'd love to be able to pick that up at one point, because I'd love to see actually what happened there in the opening lap as drivers one driver went out going into the braking zone and got tapped from behind and went around, but we had a couple other drivers connected coming through turn number 1 on the exit of that corner as well. Good run here, though, again, for your leader. Okay, here, I'm picking it up right now. Potentially asking for the replay. Here it is here. We'll watch the replay, Alessandro, as they line up pretty nicely coming out here. And indeed, Laster just totally misses the start. And he fell back. 4 drivers go by Laster. I'm not sure what happened there. He missed the start completely. Here's a great shot from overhead as they work their way through. There's contact from the back, one driver going around. I'm not sure if that was Caron or not. Another driver loops it coming out of the corner on throttle early. Man, I'll tell you, Alessandro, that was a tough start. To be honest, I think a lot of the chaos happened because Laster just didn't get a good start. It kind of bottlenecked everybody else going up into turn 1.
Yeah, Laster has the dreadful start, and obviously everybody behind him had to check up and to avoid major carnage even before getting to turn 1. Canyon got stuck behind everybody on the inside and almost made it 3 wide even before crossing the start-finish line, but the chaos happened just a few hundred meters later when I almost see a 4 wide enter in turn 1, but everybody tries to get as much track position as possible at the start. It's the easiest way to move up the field, but it's not always working really well.
Well, especially a track like this at Watkins Glen. You could see it from the overhead. We see it every time they come in down into turn 1. There's so much pavement on the outside of the racetrack. That, of course, used to be gravel track, but they turned it into pavement to allow drivers to go off and potentially slow themselves down when there's any kind of an issue, because we have seen some drivers go off there incredibly hard into the Armco. But you have a lot of racetrack to use there. If you go way wide, you're still able to bring yourself back onto the track. And I think sometimes that gives these drivers a little bit more courage and a little more confidence than they probably need to have. Otherwise, up front, we're seeing a 3-driver battle start to kind of develop with Andrew Caron, Caden Bin, and William Laster. Those 3 drivers pulling away a little bit of advantage over Gagnon Renaud now, almost a full second back to he and Robert Hartley. Then we go another almost 3 seconds back to Travis Schwenke and Mike Dam running in 6th and 7th.
Yeah, the leading pack is still very, very bunched up. There are a minimal gap between second and third, third and fourth. Only Travis Schwenke in the 16 car is just a bit behind. He couldn't keep up with Robert Hartley, and is now driving together with Mike Dam. The level of this GTLM field is really, really high. It's a pleasure to be here watching these drivers. They are doing very, very good lap times here around this track. Weather is beautiful. I remember that this series runs on the same temperature and situation and weather that you have at the track at this time of the day. So it's really, really great to see them running so fast. And here we have a 3-way battle now for the lead with Caden Bean in the middle and William Lasser able to catch them slowly but steadily, and now he's gonna try to pull a move on the Ferrari.
Looking down the inside as they work their way down the chute into turn number 6 here at the track. A very tough part of the racetrack to get pointed in the right direction to get again down to the toe of the boot. 3.4 miles, 11 turns, the track here at Watkins Glen. A 90-minute race we have lined up for us here right now. Let's have a look a little bit just so we can kind of talk strategy. Expecting probably around 51 laps to be to the duration of the race, so that's going to put the pit window for the drivers here in the GTLM category somewhere at the end of lap 21 to potentially lap number 30, so about an 11-lap window for the drivers there. Same goes for those in the GTD category. They're expected to get lapped a couple of times, so maybe a 49-lap race for those drivers, lap 19 to lap 30 will be the pit window for drivers from GTD. We're still quite a ways from that. Again, a 90-minute finale here, season number 2 of this Ricmotech GT Challenge, brought to you by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics. And again, I'll tell you, Alessandro, it may be a 90-minute race, but these guys are going at it tooth and nail, because here comes Laster down to the inside of turn number 1. Book it. Side by side through the corner. Laster's going to have the inside run as they come over to turn number 2. But Caden Bin does not want to give it up. Working his way back up here, and this is what I love about this program. BMW, Ford, Ferrari. All 3 cars represented in the top 3. This is what it's all about here in the GT Challenge.
Yes, I think Caden Bean might have a chance here because the car is well known for having a great top speed, but William Laster covers the inside and stays in front of the 18, and now he's gonna hunt Caden Bean teammate Andrew Carr in the lead of the race, just a few tenths in front. You clearly saw how the Ford is so stable through that final part of the track. The Ferrari was a bit understeer in my opinion. They seemed to push a bit wide on the last corner and gave William Laster the chance to put the nose onto into the inside and go by Caden Bean. What a great battle between these 2 teams. F4H is definitely having a great day today with William Laster and Ian Gagnon.
Yeah, I don't think Laster's done at all. I think he's showing us the exact patience we talked about. Knowing how quick he was in qualifying, over a half second faster than the competition, even though he did not get the launch he wanted at the line when the green flag was displayed at start finish, he just settled into P5. He knew he made a mistake there, or at least what mistake or whatever it may have been. He wasn't able to get to where he wanted to be early. He wasn't able to capitalize on the pole position. But he has just slowly and methodically worked his way back forward, first getting by Robert Hartley, and now then by Gagnon Renault. Now Caden Bin sets his sights now on that rear wing and rear bumper of Andrew Caron, which interestingly really won't change the battle between Caron and Gagnon Renault for the championship, because it doesn't matter kind of where they all finish as long as the points still work out for them. But look at this, Laster already up on top of him here, Alessandro. Could be just a matter of time before the Ford find its way by that BMW.
Yeah, indeed, and I think Laster is not only thinking about passing Andrew, but he's also probably will be trying to slow him down just a bit to make Ian Gagnon Renault in 4th place catch up a little bit, because the championship is really close. Ian Gagnon Renault and Andrew Caron are the 2 main drivers fighting for the title. Ian is leading the overall championship out into this race, but Andrew Caron missed race 1, the first race of the season, Rob. So all the points he will count today will actually be created on the final standings, while Ian Gagnon Renault needs to score more than 10 points. That's 20th place. Today we have 28 drivers on the field, so it shouldn't be an issue. But this means you will have to defend 4 points in this race without counting the bonus points.
Doing the calculations here, folks, to see who's going to be able to win this championship. And again, long way to go, just at the 16-minute mark right now. Alessandro, you think he's going to try to back him up into his teammate a little bit, or you just keep pushing as hard as you can? I'd be worried if you're trying to hold back a little bit here on Laster to try to push him back into Caden Bin. I'd be super worried that he was just going to be able to work his way by. Already, look at this. Outside of turn 2, back to the inside. Here comes the bid for the lead. Started on the pole position, and the Ford will go to the inside of the inner loop. Book it. He's through as well. William Laster, 5th. And then all the way back to the lead in just 10 laps. What a tremendous run for him. That car looks so good through the carousel. Look at him pulling at least a length. Carousel's such a tough part of this racetrack as well, Alessandro, because you're never quite sure how much throttle you can roll into it. You don't want the car to go around. This thing looks like it's absolutely perfect today. Down into the toe of the boot with the car length lead over Caden Bin. There's looking at the point leader now, Ian Gagnon Renault, who runs P4.
Yeah, definitely the 2 Mivano drivers couldn't back up a little bit to make it a bit complicated to William last year because he was definitely much faster than them. This is maybe the strategy that William Laster could play with the two Mivano drivers to let Ian Gagnon-Renault back into contention for a podium. It's still very close, so a fourth place might still give him the championship, but it's gonna be really interesting. We will see now in just a few laps with clean air in front what the driver of the 31 Ford is gonna do. It's gonna be definitely interesting. Right behind Ian Gagnon-Renault, we also have Robert Hartley. We didn't speak a lot about him so far, but he's slowly and steadily keeping up with the Ford and closing up the first group of this GTLM field today.
Yeah, I would have to think, obviously we'll be doing a little bit of math as the day goes on here, but Gagnon-Renault, if he were to finish in the fourth spot, Alessandro, that's 28 points, 32 points for second place for Caron if he holds that spot. That's a 4-point difference, 6-point the lead for Gagnon. This is going to be really close to the very end. Did you say that we had figured out, are there bonus points still available for these drivers? Because that would be a single bonus point for leading a lap for Andrew Caron as well, correct?
Yes, indeed. Andrew Caron has still 3 points available as a bonus, while Ian Gagnon-Renault has 2 of them.
Well, there you go. That would be 1 bonus point already, as we know, for Caron. Now, the only thing that the potential for when we're doing the pit stop is that Gagnon-Renault could stay out to make sure he does lead a lap to kind of negate the little advantage potentially that Caron has got from leading the first 10 laps of the race. He is putting a lot of pressure right now and actually was right onto the rear wing of the leader, William Laster, coming through the toe of the boot. But Laster's been able to pull out a little bit here. And indeed, if he can break the draft, this could be good for Laster to potentially stretch away. Look at him going to the bottom of the racetrack, most definitely trying to break that draft on Andrew Caron.
Yeah, driver moving around on the front stretch, trying to break the draft. Now we are also starting to hit the GTD traffic. We have already some cars in front. I saw a Mercedes right in the distance. We might catch this lap or next time by. So this might move things up in the leading group where everybody is still bumper to bumper, very close. 3 different manufacturers in the first 3 spots. Very nice to see all 3 different cars competing at the same level. We only have 2 Porsches on our grid today. The first one is in fact Mike Dam in the 93. In 6th position, running around together with Travis Schwenke, another serious regular.
Drivers being able to get by the 5th place driver in the GTD category right now. I believe that's Jeff Jacobs, able to slide by Jeff there coming out of the toe of the boot. The interesting thing, too, we'll talk more about this at the end of the broadcast as well, but of course, this is capping off season number 2. Season 3 will be just around the corner here of the Ricmotech GT Challenge, and interesting, so we'll talk about it. Top 12 drivers from GTLM points here in season 2 will automatically qualify for season 3. Top 8 drivers from GTD will automatically qualify for that 3rd season as well. We'll have some qualifying sessions later on this week to set things up for season 3 for the final positions on the grid. So I don't care what you're doing here, Alessandro. If you're coming back for season 3 like so many of these drivers will, you're scrapping for every point you can. We're, of course, talking about the championship, but there are drivers that are trying to battle their way into the top 12 and the top 8 of the 2 categories, respectively, so that they can make sure they're part of season 3.
Yeah, indeed. This is also something we should look on later on. The fight for that spot is gonna be definitely very interesting. A lot of drivers maybe couldn't be there for all the season long. There might be some incidents. Drivers might recover a lot of points, so it's gonna be very hectic. We will have to wait for official results at the end to see who made the cut and who will have to go through the qualifying process before the start of next season. It's definitely gonna be really interesting. Meantime, we see here Ian Gagnon-Renault slowly catching up to the Ferrari of Caden Bean, while Robert Hartley is not keeping up completely.
Yeah, well, top 5 drivers in here in the GTLM category separated by just 2.4 seconds, and Hartley doing everything he can to close back up here on Gagnon Renault, your point leader in that F4H Ford. Of course, they're looking very good, running P1 and P4 at this point here. Good chance to win the championship here with Ian Gagnon Renault, the Canadian driver, again working his way. Oh, big slide there further back for Hartley coming out at turn number 9. Had to put some wheel into that one. Alessandro lost the rear end a bit coming out of that off-camber corner.
Yeah, indeed, it's a very tough corner there. It's so easy to use the back end. As soon as you enter the cup track, that left-hander is very, very difficult to put the power down. This car have traction control, but not always the traction control can actually save your life there. We see plenty of drivers struggling, and also these two last corners are very treacherous with worn tires.
Again, 23 and a half minutes into what will be a 90-minute race here. So, again, battle continuing as they work their way around this 3.4-mile racetrack. Watching Denis Zavretic, he has a very nice advantage now over Caleb Lavender. Lavender running in that P2 position, but I believe Lavender, here he is on screen right now, I think he still would have the championship where he needs as he works his way down to the heel of the boot. And again, Lavender all alone on the racetrack. He and Zavretic at Catalunya just a couple of weeks ago were inseparable, locked and loaded for the entire race distance. This time, quite a separation between those two drivers here. Lavender looks like he's about 12 and a half seconds behind Zavretic, because Zavretic, Alessandro, really just has this thing handled right now.
Yeah, indeed, definitely. Lavender today is not really keeping up with the Croatian driver, but at the same time, he's thinking big picture. He's really thinking about the title today, and a second position will clinch the title for him. Has been a very good season for both drivers. I had a lot of fun for the races we put together, Rob, and I'm not used to see these two so far apart.
Indeed, like I said, all the races we've seen, they've been on top of each other, literally drafting each other the entire time, and you and I continue to talk in all the races, wondering whether one is kind of saving some fuel, potentially drafting like they are. Are they going to go another couple of laps to the end before they come into pit lane? And it's been very interesting to see what we've kind of watched unfurl here. And again, Laster working his way now through the 4th place driver. That's Brandon Whitworth. So Laster using the lap traffic absolutely perfectly, coming through the inner loop. That is Whitworth holding back both of those Movano drivers. Oh, Whitworth almost gets shuffled off the track, but they both get by. Both Caron and Bin get by, but look at the advantage, Alessandro, that just gave to William Laster.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen William being very comfortable with his Ford, as also Ian is trying to navigate through the Mercedes of Brandon Whitworth, losing a bit of contact with the two drivers. This is definitely not gonna help him, but sometimes you get a bit gap, and sometimes you gain some time through the traffic. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how it's gonna play out in the end, even though we had only 6 cars in the GTD field.
26 and a half minutes in, and again, the top 5, as I said, were separated by 2.5 seconds at one point. Now the gap all the way down to 4.6. William Laster absolutely masterful, using one of the slower GTD cars, timed the pass perfect just as they slipped into the inner loop, the bus stop at the back part of the racetrack. And in doing that, the two drivers behind him, Caron and Bin, got caught up and had to essentially check up, going all the way through the inner loop and as well into the entry into the carousel, the right-hand sweeper that leads over to the chute. That was absolutely perfect, and that has given Laster a 1.3 second advantage. And maybe more importantly, look, another issue here coming by one of the other GTD cars. Laster has been absolutely perfect, Alessandro, getting by the slower cars. That was Kernan. He runs P3 in the GTD category. And again, that's now a 1.6 second lead for Laster. As I said, even more importantly, I think he's broke that draft now as well. So we could see Laster just pulling away here.
Yeah, definitely. He used that car perfectly. The car obviously is driving really, really well, so they feel really comfortable in his car today. Meantime, we have an incident involving car 129 and 944. It's between Michael Schlegelmilch and Raymond Rodriguez, now both in 16th and 17th place respectively. We will see what the review of the race commission will be. Meantime, we see still Ian Gagnoreno a bit behind the two Mivano cars who are racing still in tandem, but slowly losing time on the Ford of William Laster. Leader of this race had a little issue at the start, but still now great. Time for drive to penalty.
So, folks, we are closing in on the 1/3 mark here of the finale of this year's Ricmotech GT Challenge. We're racing here at Watkins Glen. We'll be back after a quick break here, folks, and we got pit stops coming just around the corner. Welcome back to live coverage of the final round of Season 2 of the Ricmotech GT Challenge. Again, big thank you to Extreme Motorsports as they've put this program together. Great battle right now in this championship fight that we're watching. We're kind of getting some updates from the series coordinators as well. There is a drop race in the championship points, which I was not taking into effect. As they run on the racetrack right now, and this again coming from the admin, this is of course unofficial, but coming from our series administrators, Andrew Caron, as he runs right now in the second spot, would take the championship by 8 points in the GTLM category. Remember, drivers able to drop their worst race, and I would assume then, Alessandro, that he will drop his no-show. You said that he missed one race, so
yes.
he's able to throw that one out, then all bets are off, and he currently, as they run on the racetrack, 8-point lead.
Yeah, definitely. Mathematics, I'm definitely not good at it. That was a reason why I went on studying languages instead of doing mathematics in my studies. But yeah, you never stop learning, and this definitely changes quite a bit, because 8 points is a very sizable lead. Ian needs to step up his game in the GT Le Mans class. As we were saying also, Caleb, John Lavender in the...
driver around, Hartley.
That's
Robert Hartley.
Yes. As I was telling before, that corner catches always a lot of people out.
Well, Robert Hartley, remember we had mentioned a couple laps ago where he got loose coming out of that corner, and that was ultra loose coming in out of that corner, as we're now really into the pit window as well for the drivers in the GTD category. Not so much drivers in the GTLM, but again, that was just, we had seen the issue before. Came out of the corner there and just lost the rear end and actually spun it maybe, 90 degrees into the wall completed the 360 and was able to continue on. Significant damage. We'll find out how much it is for Robert Hartley as he was running P5. Man, look at this battle continuing here. This is second and third. This is Andrew Caron and Caden Bin. They came in second and third in points. Caron with a point lead right now. But his teammate, Alessandro, going to make it hard on him, putting a lot of pressure coming through the bus stop.
Yeah, definitely. They are not going to slow down because Andrew is fighting for a championship. Caden wants and if he has a pace, will try to pass him and try to chase William Laster down. It's gonna be interesting to see between these two drivers if they had like team orders for this race, considering Andrew is fighting for his championship. Because if the Ferrari will have some more pace compared to the BMW in the final part of the race, they will maybe swap their roles and let Caden lead the pack for a while.
Again, this battle up front, as we go back to kind of the start of it, Alessandro. Really solid qualifying effort for William Laster. He was 6/10 quicker than the field, but coming to get that green flag, for some reason, just wasn't able to get rolling. Everybody else around him, including off-pole starter Andrew Caron, kind of got the jump on him. And in fact, Laster dropping all the way back into the 5th position and really kind of caused a chain reaction chaos coming down into turn 1 over to turn number 2. We saw 3 or 4 different incidents that collected a number of drivers further back in the field. Things have kind of settled down, and once they did kind of go single file, Laster just started working his way back forward, picked them off one at a time, started with Robert Hartley, then was able to get by his teammate Gagnon Renault, then he was able to find a way by Caden Bin, and finally slipped through Andrew Caron. Now after that, top 5 drivers, as we had said, were separated by just 2.5 seconds. Everybody turning really nice lap times, and that lead group hung together. That is until they came up on the tail drivers in the GTD field. And it was William Laster's ability to really set that pick nicely coming through the bus stop where he was able to keep both of these Movano drivers behind him. In fact, they got tucked in behind the GTD drivers, had to be a little more ginger coming through the bus stop and into the opening part of the carousel. And that really has kind of reset the storyline. It's a 2.9 second lead now for Laster, when at one point they were right on his tail.
Yeah, definitely. William Laster, we saw in qualify. I thought essentially at the start that might be in a super good lap, and maybe during race pace, racecraft might level a bit out, but he had to fight for the start not so great. But this gave us a lot of very good TV time, Rob, for sure. Now he's slowly but steadily gaining a few tenths every lap, and the two behind are struggling a little bit. But we have still a pit stop coming up, and you know, Rob, that pit stop might bring a lot of unexpected changes in our field.
Yeah, if experience tells us anything, Alessandro, we have seen that happen before. Some drivers have had issues coming into the pits, coming out of the pits, pit lane speed penalties. We've seen that as well. But again, as you said, we're now into the pit window for both of our categories, both GTLM and GTD, so drivers can work their way into the pits. So we'll be a little bit longer run. We're going to look at actually about lap 30 being kind of the end of the window for both classes. So we've probably got ourselves about a 9-lap window right now where drivers can tuck their way in here. And I will give you a quick little update that I am getting updated with points as well. Kevin Ford's hooking us up here from Extreme Motorsports. We do kind of have a running point run as they're on the racetrack here. I'll see what I can do to kind of help us out there. But again, calculations here in the points, all depending on leading laps. Obviously the qualifying already said and done. The drop race, of course, is crucial. I always do this when we do championships and outdoor racing as well, because the drop race always changes depending on where you are on the racetrack, because maybe where you're running right now is a drop, but if you fall down a couple of spots, or if you fall down spots, it becomes the drop because it's your worst finish. All depends, and things are always fluid when it comes to calculating championship standings.
Yeah, definitely. This drop is definitely creating a lot of trouble for us here in the booth tonight. But I find it a really, really good choice because it allows people, if they have some personal commitments, they cannot attend to to one event, to not give up any championship. Obviously, attending every race it gives you a better chance. But if you have a bad race, you can't be there once. You can still fight for the championship.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan of a drop for a major series. We do it a lot in the world of karting as well, where drivers can drop one potential race. That way, people aren't out of the championship from the very get-go, especially in some of the shorter series that are maybe double headers or maybe you only run 5 or 6 or 7 races. It's always nice to try to keep people in the fight. And a lot of times people can't always make every race as well, especially when it comes to sim racing here. You may have family commitments, but of course, the whole COVID-19 pandemic has put us all behind our computers a lot more, I think, than potentially it would have been had we been living more time outdoors. But nice to see that the world's starting to kind of come back to normal to a certain extent, and we're still seeing great racing here on Apex Racing.
Yeah, the leading pack is still pretty close. It's been unfortunate to lose Hartley from the 50th position, right behind Gagnon Renault in the Ford. Now he's 16 seconds behind the leader. He's actually really, really close to Mike Dem and Travis Schwenke in 6th and 7th position. Just a few seconds separating them from the driver of the 3 BMW. Hayden Bean still in the Ferrari, maybe struggling a little bit in the draft of Andrew Caro with some dirty air, and the Ferrari usually is well known as a car which really likes understeer, and having also some dirty air might not really help him with the tires degrading slowly lap by lap.
We had mentioned that we are now into the front end of the pit window for the drivers in both the categories, GTLM and GTD. Here's that shot here of Abner Acosta in the number 44. He was the driver who had trouble, I want to say at the very start of that race. He tried to go to the inside of William Laster coming into turn 1, and it looked to me like he just tried to pinch it too tight, kind of had a lot of wheel in it, getting back on the throttle, coming through turn number 1. Laster didn't go too wide on the exit, and Acosta was trying to take advantage of it. Got to the inside of him. He's actually going to make a move right now here for the 9th position, indeed, going by Jennifer McDonald. So from the spin that he had to work his way back where he is now to 9th position, what a tremendous run for Acosta. But again, just tried to get on the throttle, I think, a little too aggressively with the wheel that he had in the car, and it went around. But you had mentioned him early, Alessandro, how he was kind of working his way back forward. He was 16th at one point. Driver out of Puerto Rico, Abner Acosta in that number 44. Pretty impressive now, up into the top 10.
Yeah, great recovery drive by the driver of the 44. It's a long race, so obviously if you make a mistake early on, you can catch up a little bit and slowly recover, but you don't want to waste a great opportunity as he had today here at Watkins Glen, closing with a great result this season. He might still have a chance for a top 5, but it's gonna be really tough. His pace is really good, though he's 1 second faster than the guys around him, but
Yeah.
You don't want to throw away a race like that. It's cold tires can cold him out.
Like I said, very impressive. You're right. 144.67 last time by. Quicker than a couple of the leaders. Quicker than Caden Bin. Almost as fast as Gagnon Renault. But most definitely quicker than Chris Thorman in front of him. And that's what he's looking at now. Trying to see if he can't reel in Chris Thorman. You can see lap times there. Both drivers very close last time by. But the gap between Thorman and Acosta, just about 2 seconds now. Acosta trying to reel him back in. He does get close enough to get some of that draft. That's going to help quite a bit. Thorman does not have any help in front of him. He's got about 7 seconds up the road to Travis Schwenke, who runs in 7th. Another second and a bit to Mike Dam. And another second and a bit to Robert Hartley as well. So top 4 drivers separated by just about 6.5 seconds. But it's still a 4-second lead, Alessandro, for William Laster. Qualified on the pole position, fell back to 5th. But he has worked masterfully back to the P1 position. We have not even come to the opening pit stop, or the only one and only pit stop, which we expect to see here momentarily.
Yeah, it's quietly pulling away from the duo following him. Last lap he pulled another half a second. He's one of the few drivers still lapping in the 44s, as you can see from our lovely graphic. It's definitely a great showing for William Luster today. He's been impressive from qualifying and even more in this opening part of the race because he would have started really well in first. He dropped back and then he did everything spot on. And it's gonna be really tough for the both Mivano drivers to get closer. Even Ian Gagnon Renault also is in the same car in the Ford in fourth position, but he's not even keeping up with the two. So he's really impressive today.
Yeah, I think looking at the lap times, as you said, of William Laster, his fastest lap of 144.32, last time by 144.67. So 25 laps into this race, and he's lapping just 0.3 of a second off the quickest lap that he's laid down already. Significant difference, of course, for Andrew Caron. He's about 0.7 off his quick lap. Not too bad for Caden Bin, though. 144.7, his best, 145 flat last time by just 0.3 of a second. So these two Movano drivers looking really strong here in second and third. They've developed a decent advantage of over 2.5 seconds back to Gagnon Renault. And as we said, with the updates that we've got from the administrators, as he runs on the racetrack right now in P2, unofficially, that would be Andrew Caron as your championship winner. He's got to get home to the end here still. And we're really only to the halfway point here, not quite to the halfway point. We should see some drivers coming into the pit lane, probably somewhere within the next 3 to 4 to 5 laps, I would expect. But look at Caron, Alessandro, starting to pull away, stretching that gap from his teammate Caden Bin.
Yeah, definitely we're gonna see people pulling down pit road in the next few laps. I think most of the people will just stay out till the last possible lap, as nobody will be taking tires. Usually 90 minutes is a doable stint for tires. So you want to maximize everything, do some really fast lap now with an empty tank, try to stretch the gaps as much as you can, and maybe also try to stretch it that 1 or 2 laps to have a shorter refueling. But Dennis Avretti here in the 79 is cruising to victory today so far. Caleb not even able to pull a fight today, as we saw in the last 2 rounds. He's been magnificent today. He's now really close to other cars, but he's taking his time whenever he's into traffic and making sure he will get his Mercedes AMG GT3.
I was going to say, Alessandro, don't put the announcer's jinx on him right now, because we're only halfway through. It's been an incredible performance for Savretic so far.
I didn't say anything.
You gave him
I stopped before saying completely, because I realized I'm really bad at this, and I knew that if I was saying the complete phrase, I was gonna throw him under a bus.
Don't do that. Exactly right. This guy can win the championship if he wins this race. We don't want to throw Zambredic under the bus, as you said. You don't want to have that curse. Caleb Lavender coming off the win from Catalunya. And, as we said, probably needed the win here. Coming in, I didn't realize it was a drop. That's my fault. But indeed, with the drop, obviously Lavender needed to really drop it down and get this race win. As they run on the track, as we're being told by the series administrators, Zavretic with an opportunity right now to potentially win this championship. It's a long way to go. We're just past the halfway point. We've got pit stops coming here probably in the next 3 laps. As I said, based on our intel and the notes, pre-race notes, lap 30 would be the end of the window for both categories. We're on lap number 27, so potentially 2 to 3 more laps. But again, Alessandro, as we've had in the races that you and I have called here from the GT Challenge, we've seen guys somehow save enough fuel to go 1 or 2 laps longer.
Yeah, Someone always trying to do something different is Mike Dem, who's actually now on pit road. But for sure, GTEs and GTD even more are very fuel efficient cars if you stay in the draft. This might be something that Caden Min might have think about. He might sure fuel the car a little bit in his pit stop and pass Andrew Caron, even though obviously I don't know if they are allowed to do so. Make them out actually exiting pit road, a very long stop for him, 53 seconds. So probably there was something wrong on his car, because this shouldn't be a standard pit stop length.
Yeah, looking at the just updating the points real quickly. As we said, one driver to pit lane already. Mike Dam, the first taker. Sometimes we've seen him be the first guy. Sometimes he's been the guy that's waited to the end. As they run on the racetrack now from the last little bit here, now we'll have a quick look, a replay here of Ian Gagnon Renault coming through turns number 10 and 11. Final couple of corners, almost throws it away. Coming out of turn number 10 over to 11, Alessandro. Car just got away from him there. He's going to lose a lot of ground. And right now, this could be a big help to Andrew Caron, as I was just going to mention, as they run on the racetrack with the drop. 7 points, the current advantage for Andrew Caron as the leader of the championship.
Yeah, definitely a close call there for Ian Gagnon Renault. He did a great job avoiding any damage there, because the car snapped on him, and he barely managed to stay away from the barriers. So he's still a fourth, but he will have a very difficult time. He will need some driver's mistakes from someone in front to be able to gain any point on Andrew Caron.
How about this drive for Abner Acosta? We've been watching him for the last number of corners. Number 44 driver to Puerto Rico has fought his way back up into 7th position, finally able to reel in the Ferrari of Chris Thorman. Slipped by there as they worked their way down the back straightaway into the bus stop area, and he has moved that BMW now to 7th position. This is key because he's working his way back forward here as well. Right now, a little over 5 seconds behind Travis Schwenke, but looking at the kind of last lap times, Travis Schwenke a 1:45.05, Acosta 1:44.67. We have a lot of time left in this race, and we're looking at 40 more minutes, 41 more minutes, and I want to know whether or not we're going to see Acosta potentially working his way up into the top 5. Another driver into pit lane. Robert Hartley has made the run to pit lane here as well, Alessandro. So here we go. Pit stops now starting for more drivers in the GTLM class.
Yeah, Derek Holland in the 80 Ferrari is now joining also Hartley on pit road. Now probably in the next few laps we will see everybody visiting pit road to take some more fuel, but not tires, because it's gonna definitely lengthen the pit stop by quite a lot, so you don't want new tires. Shouldn't be an issue though, because you can easily double steam tires in endurance races anyway, with this new tire model that Racing developed for these GT cars.
One of the interesting things I'm watching here in the points as well, as they kind of get updated a little bit here. Arthur Chan, who runs in 11th, and Derek Holland, who I believe could potentially be in the pit stop. Yeah, Holland's in pit stop. These guys are battling for 12th as they run on the racetrack. As the last time that we updated the points, Derek Holland was in 12th spot. Arthur Chan was in 14th, but they were both running at 121 points. Remember, P12, top 12 drivers in GTLM, those drivers qualify automatically through into season number 3. So both these drivers battling it out. Drivers coming into pit lane as we see here. And again, this is Caden Ben working his Ferrari into pit lane. The RSR Movano Esports machine coming into pit lane here. His pit stop. Here comes Laster as well. He's already into pit lane. So the leader in the lane now getting his service. Here comes Gagnon Renault as well. Everyone in here, Alessandro, in the GTLM class.
Yeah, everybody going down pit road at the same time. We will see if anybody will short fuel the car. William Last is already on his way out. Let's see. Indeed, the Ferrari is coming right now out of pit road. Andrew Caron in the BMW stayed out, so Caden Bean had a very good pit stop, but we will have to see if his teammate in the 72 probably is gonna pit next time by, or at least in 2 laps. I don't think he will have more fuel. Will slide in front of him, exiting pit road. Who will follow him?
Will he make?
Obviously having
Yeah, will he make? How much time will he make up with a shorter pit stop? Obviously, doesn't have to go one lap less to go to the very end for Andrew Caron. He currently leads the championship as they run on the racetrack right now. Again, getting updates from the series administrators. Pretty good run here now for Andrew Caron. Started on the outside of the front row, was able to get a bonus point for working his way to the front of the pack. And again, staying out here, so no bonus point as well for Gagnon Renault because he was not able to lead a lap. Caron will lead again, and he's going to go for another lap around the racetrack here. Interesting to see the strategy and the longer run of Andrew Caron. Alessandro, is he rolling the dice here? Is there potential for him to run out somewhere on the racetrack?
he's probably having still enough fuel to do an extra lap. He has now a great tow by the Ford in front of him. He will probably pit this time by because everybody essentially has been on pit road apart from him. Meantime, we get some intel from our fellow viewers that Ian Gagnon Renault had to take tires during his last pit stop because obviously they were a bit not feeling totally alright after the big spin he had. And this also might be the reason why Mike Dem had a long pit stop. So these two might have new tires, and we will see coming them probably through the field in the final 15-20 minutes with definitely faster car.
Yeah, tough one there for Ian Gagnon Renault. We gave you the replay of that big slide coming out of turn 10 into turn number 11, and indeed potentially flat spotted the tires on that Ford GT. Back onto the racetrack here in 9th position. We're still waiting for Andrew Caron. We'll stay with him here right now because will he come into pit lane? He has done a tremendous job. He's gone 2 laps farther than everybody else around him. Maybe is this an opportunity for him to close up on William Laster? We'll see. Will it be a pit lane run here for Andrew Caron? He'll keep the car to the bottom, and indeed here comes the BMW, the Canadian driver who sits with the championship within his grasp, slowly working his way down, getting to the pit speed limit. You definitely do not want the pit lane speed violation. Another one of the GTD cars pulling out in front of him. Crucial stop here for Caron. That's actually Caleb Lavender, P2 in GTD. He's made his stop. He'll work his way back out onto the racetrack. And Alessandro, this is crucial for Caron. If he can have a short stop here, potentially get back out in front of Lavender, we could see ourselves the battle for the race win.
Yeah, indeed, as we see even more GTD cars, it was Kernan coming out of pit road. William Laster crossing now the start-finish line. Andrew Caron now leaving pit road. You can see him right in the background. He is now rejoining the track, clearly in front of Caden Bean. I thought it might be the opposite, but there is a huge gap between the two.
Yeah, but look at how much Caron made up on Laster. That's what I find very impressive. Again, he waited, remember, 2 more laps. He was 6 seconds back. Now finds himself just 2.3 seconds back. Wasn't quite enough to be able to put himself right in the middle of a fight with Laster, but the gap between first and second significantly shorter or more closer than it was before Caron finally came to pit lane. And indeed, Andrew Caron has done a great job to give himself a 4-second advantage over Caden Bin. And in fact, let's cap it off here with our updates from the pit lane. Abner Acosta has now worked his way up into 6th position. He's only 4 seconds behind Travis Schwenke as Acosta trying to work his way back into the top 5.
Yeah, indeed, a great race so far by the Puerto Rican driver in the 44, as we see right behind him Chris Thorman in the Ferrari, really close at the BMW of Jennifer McDonald for 7th place. Chris Thorman, we have a spin by Jennifer McDonald right in front of him. And now dropping back to 9th position. That was Ian Gagnon Renault with the Ford coming by on the inside on a mission to gain time on everybody in the next 35 and final 35 minutes of the season.
We'll continue to watch lap times between the drivers in first and second. Caron, of course, getting his pit stop done, a 1:45.6 for Laster when he came back out onto the track. Being told the number 99 unsafe re-entry to the track after the spin. That was Jennifer McDonald. So a warning for her, not a drive-through penalty at this point, but indeed a warning for coming back on track in front of one of the other drivers. Again, that spin for McDonald, dropping her down into 12th position now. And again on Andrew Caron as this driver potentially in position to win the championship here in the Ricmotech GT Challenge. What a tremendous battle it has been throughout the field. We had some good racing earlier on. Potentially seeing a fight here between Caron and Laster. 2.2 seconds. Caron's actually closing up on William Laster here now, Alessandro, which is pretty exciting. Obviously working to get by one of our drivers here. I believe that's Brandon Whitworth in the GTD category. But I like the fact that Caron is closing in here.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe the GT3 car helped him a little bit close the gap, but at the same time, I think it might be the fact that the BMW, as far as I know, should be a car using up a little bit less tires compared to the Ford. And this might really help the Canadian driver to catch William Laster in the 31. We will have to see. We have still a long way to go. This race is definitely very long and anything can happen still. So we're gonna have a nice fight here at the end.
Yeah, we're just about 31 minutes away from the end of this one. Pit stops all done, I think, for everyone here. So we are ready to just scrap it out till the end. I've always find it interesting too. You know, in the final race, you talk about the championship. You talk about where drivers are on the racetrack. You know, as they run, are they going to win the championship? This has been an 8-round program for the drivers here in this GT Challenge, and of course the finale here at Watkins Glen. Has been interesting for sure. A lot of the excitement on the opening lap as we had an issue with the pole sitter William Laster not getting a really good jump. It allowed Andrew Caron to jump out front to lead and pace the first 10 laps. But since then, we've seen Laster work his way back forward, get to the lead, pit before Caron, come back out with the lead. And even though Caron was closing up for a bit there, he's having some trouble getting by one of our GTD cars down in the toe of the boot. This has really been all about William Laster, and it's been all about Dennis Savretic. Savretic, potentially Alessandro, able to try to take a run here at the championship with the race win. Laster's going to work his way back up to the closer to the top of the points. But as they run, Andrew Caron looks like he potentially could come away with the championship.
Yeah, indeed. It's gonna be really interesting to see if anything changes, but so far these two drivers are definitely showing why they are the leaders of these two categories. But we will see this after just a little short break.
We have seen some pretty exciting action, but to be honest, the drivers who are running up front here now are kind of making it a little bit boring for us because they're just absolutely on their games here today. William Laster leading the way here in the final round of the Ricmotech GT Challenge. He sets the pace in GTLM. Dennis Savretic is doing everything he needs to do to potentially win the championship in GTD as he is running out front of Caleb Lavender. Folks, great to have you with us here on Apex Racing TV. It's the finale of the program here at Watkins Glen International. My name's Rob Howden, joined by Alessandro Delladone, and running the cameras today and the production is Dennis Branch. We are looking to be within the final 30 minutes here. In fact, probably within the final 28 minutes. And again, up front, the driver we're watching here in the F4H machine, the number 31 Ford GT for William Laster. Alessandro dominated the action in qualifying 0.6 quicker than the field. Didn't get the jump at the start, fell back to 5th. But I think the patience and the confidence in the car itself allowed him to just methodically work his way back to the front. And after the pit stop that everyone has made, he now has a 5.1 second lead on Andrew Caron.
Yeah, great race by William Laster. Andrew Caron in the 722 Mivano BMW, steadily in second place. He's 5 seconds back, but he had a solid event. He managed to stay always within reach and of the leaders, staying on the podium spot, kept it in, had a very good fuel strategy, and closed the gap after the pit stop to at least 2 seconds to the Ford William Laster. So he was really close, but pace and a bit of traffic neglected him the chance to fight for the win, but still he has the championship in his grasp, and in only 27 minutes more or less we will see if he's gonna be crowned champion.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd see a bit of a battle there when he kind of stepped things up and was starting to close up. Thought we could get a fight for the race win. He's going to go to the outside of, I believe, Caleb Lavender. Watch yourself coming through here with one of the drivers in GTD. No need to throw it away. As they run on the racetrack right now, it'd be 220 points for Andrew Caron. And in fact, Caden Bin would move to P2 with 213 points. And Ian Gagnon-Renault came in with the point lead, could potentially fall into third at 208 points as well. So obviously things didn't go the way Gagnon-Renault wanted. He's down into the 8th position right now. Andrew Caron, though, running second, and Caden Bin third. Here's Acosta in the number 44. We'll watch him work his way through. Remember, he was all the way up to 6th position, trying to put the pressure. You can see Alessandro, that car started to come around as soon as he got into it. Probably a little brake oversteer potentially. Tough one for Acosta as he loses a couple of spots. Chris Thorman and Ian Gagnon-Renault getting back through. Tough one, man, because he had worked his way back forward, up into 6th, was closing on Travis Schwenke for 5th. And then you throw it away with just a minor miscue in turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. That was just a tiny mistake, maybe too much brake pressure there. He went around and unfortunately lost a few bunch of positions. But here we have Chris Thorman in the D2D Esport Ferrari 4A8 defending from Ian Gagnon-Renault. He's a man on a mission, trying to get as many points as possible in this final round. After almost colliding with the barriers, he sends it onto the inside and manages to pass Chris Thorman. Ian Gagnon-Renault is back into 6th position. Definitely a not really good race for him, but he's recovering nicely.
Yeah, did you see him flashing the lights there? He was flashing the lights at Thorman to get out of the way. My thought was, hey man, we're in the same class. Why am I going to let you through? I know you're running for the championship and everything, but why am I letting you through if we're in the same class?
That's a tactic. You need to make your opponents lose their focus and flashing the lights, especially if there is no regulation about how many times you can flash the lights, because I know drivers that abuse the flashing lights thing to distract and piss people really off. So that even that in the real P1 class in the Le Mans series, they had to give a limit to drivers, especially Audi drivers back in the days, to not flash the lights too much because otherwise, obviously, people get blind.
Ooh, a little bit of a potential off coming through the exit of the carousel there for Gagnon Renault. Dropped the left rear off a little bit, kind of flirting with disaster coming through that particular part of the racetrack, the carousel that leads into the chute down into the boot section of the racetrack here. When NASCAR Cup Series comes to Watkins Glen, they don't use this part of the racetrack. They come out of the outer loop and take the run all the way from 5 over to turn 9 and 10, giving them a pretty good braking run into turn number 10 and lining things up. Of course, the boot, one of the iconic parts of this racetrack, though. It's just so much fun to roll down into it there in a couple of braking zones into the toe and into the heel. Continue to follow here, Alessandro Ian Gagnon Renault, as this is the battle we're watching, rather than the battle, but this is the driver we're keying on right now. He's been able to get himself back up into the 6th position, but he is 44.3 seconds back of the lead and 7 seconds behind Travis Schwenke.
Yeah, someone we haven't really touched a lot upon today is sitting in 4th place now in his BMW in the 3 car is Robert Hartley. He had a little mistake, and you can see the car being a little bit damaged on the front. He's having a solid run for sure, but a little mistake cost him a lot of time, and now he's really close to Travis Schwenke. He's following around 2 seconds behind in the other BMW in the 16 car. A solid run for Travis for sure. We are used to see him in Ricmotech series pretty much everywhere. He's always very competitive. But today probably just missed a little bit of race pace compared to the top guys. But still, it's a 5th position, and considering the level of this field is still a very good result.
Let's move to the driver running in the 7th place in the track here right now is Thorman. Chris Thorman actually has had a really strong run. He's been right there in the top 10 for majority of the race. Of course, we know that he had himself a pretty good battle with Acosta when he was trying to come up through, but Thorman has run very strongly here and again had a good little scrap there with Gagnon Renault. But nonetheless, for Thorman, Alessandro, I think, having a pretty good run, and Mike Dam as well. Let's move to Mike in the Orange Cryptology machine, the Canadian driver, veteran in the program here. One of the drivers in the Porsches here, the RSR machines. He is now running in the 8th position. One of the first drivers to come into pit. His fast lap times down into the 144s as well. Currently running lap times in the low 146s. But Alessandro, all in all, a decent run here for Mike Dam in the 8th. But I think you and I normally would expect him to run maybe closer to the front of the grid.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a bit surprised to see him struggling today here at Watkins Glen. He's usually one of the top guys everywhere we go in the Ricmotech Championship we follow here on Apex Racing TV. But you can see the car is a bit struggling. The Porsche is not a car that many drivers select in this championship. Maybe not a perfect car around here, but still, I don't know if he changed tires or had an issue on pit road. He's trying to recover after losing a lot of time. He might be able to try to catch Thorman in the end, but it's gonna be tough, even because behind him is Jennifer McDonald in the 99. We saw her having a backwards in right this corner a few laps ago and having a particularly complicated rejoin, let's say, an unsafe rejoin. He got a warning for that, but the pace is definitely not bad. Just a mistake cost a few positions and a lot of time. It's still a top 10 though, so it's a solid result to finish the season. And rounding up the top 10, we have the second and the other only Porsche in the field. Another Canadian driver is Arton Chan in the 87. having a solid run. He's been in the midfield all day long, but we didn't see him having a lot of issues. A solid run today, and a top 10 that will be definitely a very good morale boost for the start of the next season, which is really, really close, even though we are still 18 minutes left here at Watkins Glen in the finale of this season 2.
It has definitely been an eventful day for Abner Acosta in that number 44 machine. Had the issue at the opening lap trying to get to the inside of the pole sitter Laster and kind of pinched it down and got into the inside of the racetrack. He then fought his way back from 16th all the way into the 6th position, but that little mistake that we saw again in turn number 1 dropped him all the way outside the top 10. He has just been able to get by Acosta now up into the 10th spot. My points updating. There's something happened potentially to Andrew Caron. My live timing has got it changed up. I'm not sure what happened there with Andrew Caron. We got to pick that back up. Can we pick up Andrew Caron? Because I'm not sure if I'm seeing an issue here with Caron or not.
He lost a lot of time.
Live timing driving me crazy. It had him drop down to 11th like something had just happened with Caron. So we'll go back to Acosta again then in the number 44. My apologies, folks. My live timing changed just as I was kind of giving you some information. And I thought maybe something had happened for the driver with that point championship lead right now. Acosta's worked his way back, as we set up into the 11th position. Not the run he wanted for sure, but still he's shown good speed throughout. We'll move to 12th position. Derek Holland, one of the drivers in the Ferrari here. Interesting for Derek as he's running in 12th position. He's trying to see if he can't get into the top 12 in points, which would qualify him straight in to season number 3 of the GT Challenge. It's going to be a tough fight for sure. I'll have a look at the points again to see how things kind of shake down, but I believe that Derek Holland potentially working his way, Alessandro, into the top 12.
Yes, and another driver who's trying to sneak into the top 12, but it's gonna be very difficult, is George Fike in the 09 BMW. Another driver we are used to see here on Apex Racing TV in the other Ricmotech series. He's not having a great day. Let's say he started 16th in qualifying. He moved up a few places, but he's struggling a little bit around here today. At the same time, still, the car is in one piece, he's doing a good job. He might still get a few points if someone in front of him makes a mistake. You obviously need always to not give up, because as we saw in many other events we covered together, Rob, anything can happen till the last lap.
Yeah, as they run on the racetrack right now, it looks like to me like I think Arthur Chan may have 1 point on Derek Holland for 12th position. Again, that's that straight transfer into season number 3. Capping off the field here, I think we did. Did you do Russ Ruddick as of yet? I don't know if you did or not. Russ Ruddick
Not
currently
yet.
running in the 14th spot. Russ in that Ferrari number 95 machine, and then running in the final position on the track right now, Ray Rodriguez in the number 129 BMW. Rodriguez started back in 17th. Got a couple spots, worked his way up into 15th position right now, and that wraps up the drivers who remain on the racetrack here in the GTLM class.
Yeah, indeed. We had only Schlegelmich in 16th, 2 laps down. Probably got involved in that incident early on in his Ford. He's still circulating. He was getting into the top 12 in points, but the day hasn't been as planned for the American driver in the Ford. Great combination. Leading the GTD class instead is our Croatian driver, Denis Avretic, trying to lap now the 38 car of Jeff Jacobs, doing a great job. It's a pity we didn't see a fight today here. It's been incredible, and the pace showed today has been a masterpiece of work with 15 minutes left. Not a single mistake, Rob, by the Croatian driver.
Well, I think what's interesting, Alessandro, is that, as you said, the race that you and I have called together, it's been Savretti and Lavender absolutely locked together. They haven't left each other for every race we've called. They've been on top of each other for the entire race long. Sometimes they were pitting together as well. Lavender, of course, coming out with the win in round number 7 at Catalunya, but this has been a dominant run for Savretic. There's Lavender right there running P2, but 48 seconds back. Alessandro, just not something we would have expected to see. Lavender still having a pretty good run. He'll come home second in points. The interesting battle here, not battle, but the interesting storyline here is the driver currently running in third, Anthony Kernan, in the third spot. I want to say that with this run here, now he came into the day, the finale, 10th in points. Top 8 drivers transferred directly to season number 3. Kernan, as I said, was third coming in, but I want to say he's going to launch his way up potentially into the 6th position overall in points. He got 142 markers. So Kernan, who was 10th coming in, the result he's got here right now in that Audi, Alessandro, he's going to find himself straight in, qualifying right into season 3.
Yeah, definitely. Not having a lot of GTD drivers here today at Watkins Glen definitely is gonna have a nice bump in the standings, and he should be able to qualify. As also is Brian Whitworth in 4th position, Brandon Whitworth in the 42 D2D Esport Mercedes, actually in 3rd position in the standings today, having a great drive. Still 5 seconds short of Kernan, so anything can happen between these two in the last part of the race. And Whitworth should be able to clinch his 3rd position in the GTD class with this result. 5th is Jeff Jacobs. We saw being lapped by the GTD leader just a few moments ago in the 38 Mercedes. Having a bit of a tough time today. He's not really on pace, but he's keeping it clean and bringing home his Mercedes AMG also for this finale here at Watkins Glen. And rounding up the GTD class is Robert Priest in the 51 car. We're seeing right now coming back on the cup car, on the cup track. We rounded up the field as we are going back to Ian Gagnon Renault, 3 wide almost.
Well, here's the interesting thing right now, getting some insight again from the administrators here of what's going on. We got a pretty good solid point battle going here for 2nd place right now. We know that Andrew Caron has things kind of locked in right now. We're looking at about 10.5 minutes still remaining. 220 points for Andrew Caron, but we got to fight for 2nd overall in the points championship between Caden Ben and Ian Gagnon Renault. I'm being told by admin that Gagnon Renault actually blew the incident bonus, because I believe if they stay with below, it's either 6 or 8 incident points, they get a bonus point. Well, Gagnon had a bit of an issue. He's lost that bonus point. So right now it's a 3-point advantage for 2nd for Caden Ben. Lots of different variables, Alessandro, in terms of getting championship points right now. We see the battle here fighting up between Gagnon Renault and Ben. I think Gagnon Renault is going to have to get by him here right now if he wants to hold on to 2nd in the championship.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was keeping an eye on Ian as we were going through the field, because I saw him coming really fast. He went by Robert Hartley, as we saw in the replay Dennis showed us just a few moments ago. But you can see clearly here how much speed he has compared to the Ferrari. Ferrari struggling with the understeer already in the early part of the race.
This is for 2nd.
Final.
This is for 2nd right here. This is for 2nd place, the championship points. Gagnon Renault down to the inside of Ben. This is to take 2nd place back. What a good run it's been for Ian Gagnon Renault over these last couple of minutes, as he somehow has found his way back into 3rd position. He'd fallen all the way down to about 6th. Alessandro, he scrapped his way back in. Let's see if Ben can come back and get him again. He's in the draft. Block move to the inside. These drivers are going at it right now for 2nd in the points, and they're all over each other coming through the bus stop. 9 minutes remaining in this 90-minute race, and we have ourselves a scrap for 2nd and 3rd. Was that the only opportunity for Ben? It might have been. The battle on the track for 3rd, the battle of the championship for P2.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the only last chance Kevin Bean had to get Ian Gagnon Renault back. He's too fast. He's been coming really fast, and Caden Bean is really struggling now with the tires. He did a 50.3 last time. And also Robert Hartley, who got passed by Gagnon just a lap ago. He's already on the back of Caden Bean. So I think he's really having a tough time with the tires on his Ferrari today.
Alessandro, you may be correct. Just look at this. Hartley's actually going to go around the outside of turn number 9, not something you normally see, and he gets the pass done to turn number 10. And indeed, issues for Caden Bin. The car just not there early in the race. He had some really good scraps with his teammate Andrew Caron. But as Alessandro kind of laid out and detailed throughout the race, the Ferrari a little rougher on the tires, and it appears that Caden Bin could find himself in trouble. Travis Schwenke, we're going to watch the lap times for Travis Schwenke, trying to close up on him here as well. Caden Bin, a 150.85 last time by. What a shame for Bin. Holding on to third in points, but Alessandro, I think the big thing here with about 7.5 minutes remaining is that Ian Gagnon Renault, although not able to get the championship here, likely as they run with only a couple minutes to go, has been able to fight his way back up to where he will finish second, just 6 points behind Andrew Caron.
Yeah, definitely. And even though Ian didn't get the best day out today, he should be anyway really proud because the championship have been really close, and the races we have been covering has been always very close between all drivers, with some up and downs, obviously being a long season, 8 events, but Ian is showing why he's one of the fastest drivers in the GTLM field today in this final part of the race. He had a tough moment, he had to change tires as we got told by our YouTube chat, and now he's showing these new tires how fast they are compared to 1 hour 23 minutes used tire, having a lot of trouble. Travis Schwenke now catching Caden. Is he out of fuel?
I was actually told that he got a slowdown penalty, Alessandro, that Ben had gotten a slowdown penalty, but man, it just appears right now he's still getting eaten up. This time, as we said, by Travis Schwenke, he's closed up here as well. Man, what a battle here right now, currently for 5th spot. Caden Bin and Travis Schwenke fighting it out here. But Bin, trouble coming into turn number 1, up on the curb to the inside. Let's see if Schwenke has the patience here right now. He'll work his way back up the hill. Again, we're riding along with Travis Schwenke here in that BMW out of turn number 4. This will be the big run. These are going to be crucial points right now here for Travis Schwenke as he tries to move his way up the championship order. Takes him out the inside, coming in. Not quite enough. And Caden Bin, Alessandro, rolls some big speed into the bus stop.
Yeah, Travis needs to do it quickly because right behind you have the other Ferrari was Chris Dorman. And you don't want to be stuck behind Caden Bin having so much trouble in the last few laps. Travis managed to go around the outside with a great move, but now Chris Dorman, as soon as possible around the hairpin here, around the outside, Caden is struggling with the overall grip, seems like. Travis is around.
Travis Schwenke almost losing it coming out of the toe of the boot. He's going to drop a couple of spots, move Chris Thorman and Caden Bin back up top. Tough one there for Schwenke. Here comes Mike Dam as well, right behind him in the Porsche. So Mike Dam starting to put the pressure on here as well. Schwenke ran so well, was able to get by. Tough one for Schwenke. He's going to go wide as well, coming out of the top of the hill. Man, I'll tell you, Alessandro, we talked about the tires here at Watkins Glen and how drivers are going to be able to run them through to the end. We've got 4 minutes remaining, and it appears like a number of the drivers struggling for overall grip.
Yeah, I didn't expect this, to be fair, because 1 hour and a half on tires usually should be doable without a lot of issues. And also from the intel we got before the race, we were expecting a race with where tire wear was not an issue, but we saw the few drivers taking tires, like Ian Gagnon Renault and Mike Dam, I think also took tires, are coming through the field really fast and gaining on everybody. Mike Dam has a chance now to pass Caden Bin for 6th place, and he's not really far away from Chris Thorman. So we have only 4 minutes, but we are seeing a lot of very interesting things in the last few laps. 99 and car 7 under review.
Look
for
at Mike
contact.
Dam. Mike Dam just literally drove around the outside of Caden Bin, Alessandro, through the carousel. Just flat dropped the throttle and went around the outside. Caden doing everything he could to keep the car going in the right direction. Wow. Travis Schwenke trying to roll back up here on Caden Bin as well. And man, you gotta feel bad for Caden Bin. You think about the tale of the two storylines for him. He was so strong, top 3 of the entire race, right there with his teammate Andrew Caron. And it's just all gone wrong for Caden Bin. This car just not what it was earlier in the race. Mike Dam getting by. Travis Schwenke overcooks it coming into turn 8, putting the pressure on, and he overcooks it on the brakes as well.
Yeah, indeed. Travis is really struggling with tires. Once you get these tires really cooked up because you make a mistake, you go around, it's really difficult to get them back to normal temperatures. And that's why Ian Gagnon probably changed tires at the pit stop, losing 25 more seconds after refueling it. Definitely a change that paid off in the end. Meantime, the 7 car on Anthony Kernan, third place in the GTD class, just got a drive-through penalty for a contact with Jennifer McDonald. So this might shake things up for the podium GTD class.
Indeed, tough one there, as you said, for Kernan, Anthony Kernan, with a drive-through penalty. Again, he's trying to make sure he qualifies straight into season number 3. Here's the scrap here. Schwenke still closing up here on Caden Bin, but man, the strategy for these drivers to take the tires and obviously incur the time penalty to wait there to get fresh rubber, it has worked out. Now, Gagnon Renault's got a hot rod here right now. He's not close enough, I think, to be able to close up here on Andrew Caron at all. Look at Schwenke running all the way around the outside, just like Mike Dam did on the outside of the carousel to get by Caden Bin. But remember, Mike Dam was back in 9th or 10th at one point. He really wasn't a guy that was playing any kind of a factor in what we were calling today, Alessandro. We've got about a minute remaining in this race, and Mike Dam is 6th position and closing here now in on Chris Thorman pretty aggressively. A full second faster last lap.
Yeah, great lap. Mike Dam might be able to pass Thorman if he gets perfect laps. Because William Laster, now our race leader, is halfway through the lap, on his 51st lap. It's gonna be interesting to see if he will be able to catch the checker flag this lap, or he will have to do another one. But I feel like this is the last lap of the race.
Well, we'll see what happens here. As you said, still about, I want to say 20 seconds left. We'll pick up William Laster now on the racetrack here. Impressive run for him. Here comes Laster working his way down into the heel of the boot. What a run for him. Qualified on the pole position. We talked so many times about the fact had a rough start and fell back to 5th, but just really methodically worked his way back forward, passing all the drivers up front to be able to try to grab this race win. The Ford GT out front. And again, we are past the 130 mark. Checker flag will fly, I believe, this time by. It's going to be William Laster here at Watkins Glen, the finale for Season 2 of the GT Challenge. And indeed, Ford will stand on top of the podium as William Laster for his F4H racing team scoring the victory. An incredible run, a massive margin. And here's the driver who's going to be the champion, though. What a drive it's been for him today. Andrew Caron in the Movano number 72. The Canadian driver will take the title in GTLM. Give it to BMW as a tremendous run to P2. Enough for him. And the battle here for second place in points. He came in with the point lead, not able to come away with the championship, but a great 1-3 finish for the drivers here in the F4H squad as Ian Gagnon Renault puts another Canadian on the podium. He finishes P3. Now let's pick it up. Alessandro, call him home here right now as he's working his way on the final circuit. Or didn't know he already got through. That's a race win, I believe, already for Dennis Reddick.
Yeah, great race by the Croatian. Excellent job. He is the winner of the GTD class here today at Watkins Glen, but mostly he is the GTD winner for Season 2 of the Ricmotech GT Championship. Caleb John Lavender here, second in the 65.
I was just going to say, I apologize for interrupting. It's incredible what Zavretic was able to do. You and I touched on it a couple of times. Here comes Lavender across the line. They've been equals to each other through the entire season, but Zavretic literally dominated here at Watkins Glen. It's amazing to me that he was able to be that much quicker as Brandon Whitworth coming home to finish third.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't expect it either. I was genuinely surprised when I saw the qualifying run Dennis put on. And I was expecting at least Caleb to close a little bit down to the draft, but it didn't happen at all, and he just went for it, and then he's brought home an amazing win for this final round, and in the season high, and I bet we will see him competing for the top yet again next season if he decides to stick to GT3 racing.
And Alessandro, how about this? Not only was Dennis Zavretic absolutely perfect on the racetrack, qualifying on pole and scoring the race win, dominant action, 0 incident points as well. So he was absolutely perfect, hit the qualifying time perfectly, hit the pit stop absolutely perfectly, and not 1 incident point on track. That's what it takes. Came in second place in points, leaves with the championship. Both he and William Laster getting race wins here today. Laster will bring that car to a stop at start finish. Andrew Caron, though, with the win, rather the championship. Here comes Zavretic. We'll put these two race-winning cars on the stripe here at Watkins Glen. Two very deserving race winners. Of course, the Ford in GTLM and the Mercedes victorious today in GTD.
What an amazing race, Rob. It's been definitely a lot of fun calling these last few rounds in the Ricmotech GT Challenge, but now why don't we go through the final results of this championship, and then we will pick up the interviews for the race winner and podium runners.
Indeed, 18.4 seconds. The win for William Laster was very close after the pit stop. Andrew Caron was within 3 seconds, but again, Laster just did what he did early in the race and did what he did in qualifying and simply put down the magic laps. He's able to pull away. Ian Gagnon Renault, with those fresh tires, able to work his way back up to third. A really solid strategy for him after some issues early. Robert Hartley came home fourth, but not without having a late race challenge. It was only 1.2 seconds back for Chris Thorman. Mike Dam ends up in the 6th position. He wasn't far back as well, just over a second behind. He ends up having a good run there as well. And again, Travis Schwenke coming home in 7th. Caden Bin, the issues with him and his machine falling down to 8th. Arthur Chan in 9th. Abner Acosta, who had an up and down day, ends up in 10th. Jennifer McDonald in 11th here in GTLM. George Fike, a lap back as he leads the drivers 1 lap back, including Derek Holland in 13th, Russ Ruddick in 14th, and Raymond Rodriguez in 15th. 3 laps back in 16th, Michael Schmiegelmilk. And then it's Rafael Sosa. Drivers are not able to get to the end, including Kevin Ford, David Payton, Lowski DeLeo, and again, Darren Clement not starting the race, as did DeLeo. Let's have a look, though, Alessandro, at the battle with the 6 drivers in GTD.
Yes, as Dennis trying to make some magic and get our GTD results on the screen. Otherwise, we will slowly go through it as Denis Savretic, the Croatian driver, is our race winner, starting in first position, closing in first position with a great drive, as we are having some technical difficulties right now. There we go. Perfect. Sometimes technology helps us, sometimes it just wants to ruin our day. But Caleb John Lavender in the 9 Audi for Archer Brother Esports gets second place. Brandon Whitworth in 42 D2D Esports third, thanks to a drive-through penalty for Anthony Kernan for the 7 Kernan Motorsport Audi, who got not pleasant surprise at the end after a contact with Jennifer McDonald. Jeff Jacobs rounds up the top 5, and Robert Priest in the 51 is 6th, 3 laps down.
Well, the drivers will take an opportunity to burn out some donuts here. Of course, William Laster wrapping things up here with that Ford GT, the number 31, smoking them down. here on the front straightaway at Watkins Glen. Everybody lighting them up here as well. There's Caden Ben. We know those tires will light up. There wasn't a lot of grip at the end. They're not going to hold on too much. The rest of the drivers bringing everything down here to the front straightaway. They'll work their way back to the track, and Alessandro will see how many of these drivers. We're going to try to get the top two finishers to talk to us here in the broadcast room. We'll also see if we can't get a hold of Ian Gagnon Renault. He ended up finishing P3. Actually, no, it's Andrew Caron. He will be our champion as well, as will Dennis Zavretic. So we're talking about trying to grab first and second in both races. And ironically, first and second will also give us the opportunity, Alessandro, to talk to the champions as well.
Indeed. As the drivers are having a nice party, they don't care if the cars will be turned up at the end. They will get a new one for the next season. They definitely are really happy to have brought this race to finish. Really happy to have been taking part in this beautiful championship. And as the drivers are slowly coming in for some interviews, I'm here with Denis Avratic, our only European driver on the entry list, but he is our GTD winner today and the GTD winner for season 2 of this great championship. Denis, are you with us?
Am I a winner from championship?
You won the championship as well.
Are you sure? I have no idea.
I'm not 100% sure. My maths is not great, but as far as I know, and we wait only confirmation from the admins of the series, but as far as we know, you should be the winner of the championship. Yeah.
I don't know. I know I won race. I was happy with that.
Yeah. Dennis, this is Rob Howard. I'll just fill you in. Looking at the points, it appears that you, with the drop, have a 10-point championship win over Caleb Lavender. So yes, you are indeed unofficially the champion.
Really? Wow.
Alessandro, it's all yours.
That's great.
Yeah. Definitely. You always need to try to get first. Then in the end, if you win the championship, obviously is a great surprise, as you clearly showed us. You didn't expect to win the championship at all, Dennis.
No, I'm here just for fun. I really didn't think about points too much.
Yeah, it's a great attitude because we've seen you and Caleb having a lot of great fights in the last few events we covered here on Apex Racing TV with Rob. And what a day you had today. Your pace was incredible. Caleb didn't even have a chance to fight for the win today.
Yeah, I don't know what happened today, but last few races was also fun. He was fast. Also Raymond Rodriguez, but he missed few races. He was fast too.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun. Anybody you want to thank, Dennis? Are you planning on coming back next season in the GT3 class again?
Yes, I'm planning, but in GT probably.
Good, we're definitely looking forward.
Yeah, and I don't know who to thank. League admins, you guys, and guys who I am race with.
Yeah, definitely a big thank also to you, Dennis, for coming by in our booth, and we wish you a great upcoming weeks and preparation for the new season, because GTLM class you will have a lot of tough guys to beat.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and sorry for my English, guys.
Don't worry.
You do fine.
Thanks.
What a great run there for Dennis Zavretic, and indeed getting confirmation from the admin that he indeed won the championship. And I'm standing by with the guy that was able to come in and grab the championship here as well on GTLM. Andrew Caron, from a Canadian to another Canadian. Congratulations. What a great day for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really, really happy to have won the championship. I went into this race. I didn't really know what would happen because there was the Le Mans, and then I didn't have time really to practice for this race. So I went in without practice, but I guess I played really safe and it worked out at the end.
Can you give us a little insight into the run for the 90 minutes? Because a number of drivers, Gagnon Renault and Mike Dam, both ended up taking tires, and they were able to get their way back forward. Caden Bin struggled at the very end. He fell back with what it seemed to be tires going away. How was your car throughout the distance on the one set of rubber? You didn't go for tires, did you?
Nope, I didn't go for tires at all. But I think I was just lucky, I guess, because I know Jan was a bit behind, and Caden was behind me, and all I was doing is saving fuel, and it seems at the same time that saved my tires too. So after the pit stop, we kind of all realized, because I was talking with Abner and Caden at the same time, and we kind of realized that maybe tires would have been the great idea, but with the gap I had, I was okay, and I kept saving my tires all the race, so they were still okay at the end.
Obviously, an 8-race championship, you got to be fast, essentially week in and week out, and you got the job done here in season 2 of the GT Challenge. Is there anybody you want to thank right now?
Yes, for sure. I would like to thank everybody at Mivano. They're really a great team. They're really supportive, and they keep me up to date for racing. And I will also like to thank you guys for commentating on the race. And I will also like to thank Extreme Motorsport and all the organizer of this series for this incredible championship.
Andrew, congratulations. A fantastic job. And, of course, got a great team behind you. A really impressive run today. Well done, the champion in GTLM.
Thank you.
All right, Alessandro, let's bring in Ian Gagnon Renault, obviously starting as the point leader coming in. Man, what a great run for him. You stand by and have a quick chat here with Ian.
Yeah, Ian definitely had an eventful race today in his F4H Ford. Third place today, Ian. Did you expect maybe something more out of today's race?
Yeah, today was a pretty eventful race. I think with what we saw from William, I think I could have a much more higher pace, I guess. And yeah, but I still managed to go back to P3 and secure that second spot in the championship. So I guess there's that. And yeah, I'm still happy with what I've done this season.
Yeah, definitely. It was a tough task to get the overall win today also for the championship, but still after that spin, it was a very, very scary moment. You had a very brilliant idea to change tires there because it was the right call in the end.
Yeah, my first spin, my tires when I went to the pits, I think I was left only like 36% of tires. So I need to take tires, and I had another spin, the same spot. So yeah, I guess I need to practice more distracting for the next time, but still pretty happy with what I did, and congrats to Andrew for his amazing season.
Yeah, definitely. You both had a great season. And today, a lot of people got caught out by this tire degradation. We didn't expect anyone to take tires. Neither our intel from the race organization expected to people changing tire. But in the end, it came out to a great show anyway. And you guys are definitely the protagonist in this great showcase. Anybody you want to thank, Ian, before we let you go?
Well, first of all, I want to thank William for all he did for me and for the setup this season. He's been a great partner, a great teammate. Really helped me get better this season. I want to take some time to make a big shout out to F4H. This was the last race ever as a team. So yeah, just a big shout out to them for what they did and what managed to achieve. And yeah, finally to Extreme Motorsport and you guys for the broadcast and this amazing organization for as a league.
Thank you very much, Ian, and we hope to see you back for next season.
Yeah, thanks you, man. Have a good night.
You too. And Rob, I see you are ready for another protagonist of this season. This time in GTD class, you are with Caleb John Lavender.
Yeah, Caleb, it's been a lot of fun watching you and Dennis go at it here in this GT challenge. It seems like you guys have never been separated by more than a car length. Today, though, Dennis seemed to have a pretty good hot rod. Was anything surprise you with the way today went?
Yeah, his pace surprised me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, my car, I just literally felt like I had parachutes on the back of my car on the straights here for some reason, but yeah, I'm not sure if it was BOP related or just didn't practice enough. I'm not sure.
Overall, a pretty solid season. You end up finishing second in the championship, and you've been great in all these Ricmotech programs. What are the plans for next year, for the next season? We're going to see you back here in the GTD class, or are you looking at GTLM?
Yes, sir. I'll be back in the Audi again next season.
There you go. You're the flag carrier for the Audi in the program, or what?
I guess so.
Hey, listen, again, a solid season. It's been a pleasure calling the racing between you and Dennis. You end up finishing second. Who do you want to thank today?
I just want to thank you guys for the great broadcast and everybody at Extreme Motorsports for putting this series on. My team, Archer Brothers Esports, our sponsors, Team Tech, Forge Line Wheels, and Juggernaut Energy. Also, Skull Sim Racing Gear. Shout out to them. And yeah, man, this has been a lot of fun.
Congratulations, Caleb. It's been really fun watching. Obviously, just missed the beat a little bit to Dennis here today, but nonetheless, second place on track and second in the points. Congrats on a great season.
Yep, thanks, guys.
There he is, folks. Caleb Lavender finishing second place in the GTD category. Dennis Savaradic, of course, with a tremendous run for him in that final run, that final race of the season. Alessandro, all in all, this has been a really fun program to call because obviously a bunch of different cars, whether it's the Ford or the Ferrari, the Porsche, the different categories, the BMW, the Audi, the BMW, and the Mercedes and GTD. Just a great cross-section of cars, but also a fantastic cross-section of great drivers as well.
Yeah, indeed, it has been a very, very beautiful championship to cover, and we've seen fights overall in all classes, side-by-side racing, some hectic phases, but at the same time always a lot of respect between the two classes, which is not always very easy to have because anybody is racing for a position and you don't want never to leave just a single second on the track whenever you are being lapped or lapping people. Definitely I'm looking forward for next season, and I'm looking forward for the next Ricmotech event coming up here on Apex Racing TV.
Well, the interesting thing, let's jump in and talk about the qualifying procedure for the program for the next season. We talked about it a little bit during the broadcast. Top 12 from Season 2 in the GTLM category have already secured a spot for Season 3. Top 8 drivers in GTD have their position on the grid for the next season as well. Everybody else, Alessandro, has to attend a qualifying session. I know it says Thursday, June the 22nd. It's actually June the 25th, we believe. And then Sunday, June the 28th. Those two qualifying sessions to fill the grid for the remainder of this GT Challenge, which will be season number 3. There is a lot of racing still to come, folks, as well. Upcoming Ricmotech events for you. From Laguna Seca this coming Monday, June the 29th. The Sports Car Series getting back at it again, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And then, of course, we look forward to the next race coming on as well. We just wrapped up the Watkins Glen finale. You see there from the GT Challenge. We'll follow more to see when that third championship season comes up. But again, the Classic Sprint Series with the drivers in the Ford Mustangs and the Mazda MX-5 Cup cars, they are back on track on July the 6th for round number 4, the 17th season of Classic Sprint Series, and they will be at this track here, Watkins Glen International in upstate New York. And that is going to cap things off. Folks, for final results and any of the latest series information, make sure to visit ExtremeMotorsports99.com. That's an X to start it off. ExtremeMotorsports99.com for any of the series. Slash it with GT Challenge to get more updates on this particular program within the series. Alessandro, final thoughts before we cap things off here from Watkins Glen?
I definitely want to come back again this championship as early as possible. I don't want to have any weeks in between because we are so used to see such a great racing. Even though we may have a real life commitment coming up, Rob, with racing and our jobs are coming back as the real world progresses, we will make sure to tune in for these events, even in the next few weeks.
I think you can just simply hear the tone and the thank you of all the drivers that get a chance to talk to us in the broadcast center. The fact that they are just so thankful of everybody that's involved in Extreme Motorsports 99 that puts on this Ricmotech program. And again, big thank you to Ricmotech, high performance sim racing equipment, and Proforma Elite Texas Graphics for being the sponsors of the GT Challenge. Of course, the Classic Sprint Series and the Sports Car Series as well. What a day it was here at Watkins Glen. William Laster overcame an issue in the very start of the race to grab that race win at the very end. Andrew Caron, though, coming home with the championship in GTLM. And in GTD, it was all Denis Savretic, the Croatian driver, scored the race win and was able to come away with the championship title as well. We thank you for joining us here from Watkins Glen International on behalf of Alessandro Deladone and Dennis Branch. My name is Rob Howden. We'll see you at the next Ricmotech race next week.